Hi guys, welcome back to another episode with me, Phil Self, and today we're going to be discussing the number one thing that I get asked the most, which is how do I put on large amounts of muscle while keeping my body fat down to a minimum. Today we are going to be discussing lean bulking. When most people want to bulk up or put on large amounts of muscle, the first thing they automatically think is that they have to eat huge amounts of food. While you do have to be in a calorie surplus to put on muscle or large amounts of muscle, you don't have to go too over the top. I've seen some people be in calorie surpluses of 900, 1000, 1200 calories a day, which I personally think is way too high. I remember when I first started lifting at the gym, and one of the gyms that I went into, there was a personal trainer. So I'm going back 20 years. And this personal trainer, the advice that he gave to me when I asked him how to bulk up was, he said, you need to eat anything and everything. And this is a terrible, terrible idea, and it's bad advice. You still need to be calculating what you're eating. So for example, if we talk about how I would bulk up, when I bulk up, I put myself into a calorie surplus of 250 to 300 calories a day. If you're going to put yourself into a calorie surplus of 1000 calories per day, at some point you're going to want to cut away that fat, which just means you're going to have to do a big cut. So the way that I would do a lean bulk is I would put myself into a calorie surplus of 250 to 300 calories a day, and I would use the mirror. So if I'm in a surplus of 300 a day and I'm putting on a decent amount of size, a good amount of muscle, but I notice that I'm starting to get a little bit fluffy around the edges, for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I would bring my calories down, do a mini cut, get rid of that excess fat that I don't want, then put my calories back up to 200, 300 calorie surplus above my maintenance, and carry on with the lean bulk that way. So rather than doing a large bulk and then a massive cut, I kind of do it in waves. So I'm constantly cutting, constantly bulking. This is the way that works best for me. And I think it's the way that the majority of people, unless you're a pro bodybuilder looking to put on like a mass, what we call like a mass monster, that you get your Jay Cutlers and your Phil Heaths, unless you're going down that route, I would put myself into a surplus of 250 to 300 calories a day. Now, when it comes to the calories, you still need to be using the right macro split. So you still need to be getting the right amount of proteins, the right amount of carbs, and the right amount of fats. But like we said earlier, rather than putting yourself into a surplus of 1000 calories a day, which is way too high, 200, 250, 300 should be absolutely fine for most people. If you're going to use the strategy that I've just spoken about, which is putting yourself into a calorie surplus of 250 to 300 a day to bulk up, and then after 2 or 3 months you decide you want to do a 2 or 3 week mini cut because you are starting to put on a little bit too much fat, what you could do, what I do, is I reduce my calories, and I would also think about doing some kind of cardio 2 or 3 times a week to assist with the fat loss. Obviously, the diet is going to be the number one, it's going to be the primary way of losing fat, but what you can do is you could introduce cardio 2 or 3 times a week into your training routine, and this would assist in the fat loss. That being said, you do need to consider the kind of cardio that you're doing. When I add cardio into my routine, I would do low intensity, I would do low impact cardio. It sounds really boring, but what I do is 2 or 3 times a week, I put myself onto a treadmill, 3, 4, 5 degree radiant at a slow pace, and just walk it out, and this will assist in the fat loss. When I say low impact, the reason I say that is because even though there are many discussions around does high impact cardio burn muscle or does it not, my opinion on this is that if you're doing high impact cardio too much, the last thing you want to do is risk losing muscle mass. So that's why I say take the safe route. Yes, it's boring, but low impact, low rate cardio, I still believe is the best way to go. Talking about the nutrition side of things, when people talk about bulking, a lot of people seem to have all of their macros, all of their healthy kind of go out the window, and they forget about everything. And you know, we see these things on Instagram and YouTube, people in the burger house and they're having 4 or 5 burgers a day. Let me tell you something, this is not how they eat. This is just for the gram, or it's just for likes. These people would not normally eat like this daily on a bulk. So do not believe everything you see. Do not believe everything that is put in front of you. I still believe that when you are, the way you should use your diet for a lean bulk is exactly the way you should use it in any other way. You need to be working out your macros, getting the right amount of protein, getting the right amount of carbs and the right amount of healthy fats. It's not just about I'm on a bulk, so I'm just going to eat everything. That's not the route that I would take. Something we hear, a trend that was going around that I don't agree with, which is if it fits your macros. And to me personally, I think this is complete BS. I do not believe in it at all. I do not agree with the statement. What it's basically saying is, for example, if you've got a macro split of 250 grams of protein a day, 500 grams of carbs and 80 grams of fat, well, you could go off and have a McDonald's every day. You could have a Big Mac meal every day, because a Big Mac meal isn't going to contain 500 grams of carbs, it's not going to contain 250 grams of protein, and it's not going to contain 70 or 80 grams of fat. So in theory, yes, you could go out and have a Big Mac meal every day, but the nutritional value of a Big Mac meal is absolute zero. You're far better off putting your time, putting your diet towards healthy carbs. So we're talking about sweet potato, rice. Proteins, we're talking about fish, lean meats. Healthy fats, we're talking about avocados, yolk from the egg, nuts, these kind of foods. You still want to be eating your whole foods. So when you're doing your bulk or your lean bulk, keep it clean, keep it healthy, and I can assure you it will pay off in the long run. I hope that you've enjoyed this video and you've got some value from it. I'm going to put some information about clean eating and nutrition in the description box below, so take a browse down there and check it out. I've also put the links to my website and my Instagram if you want to contact me if you've got any questions regarding training or nutrition. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the like button, and I'm going to see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.